Okay, so it being on or about 6:30, I bring this meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission for January 23rd, 2023 to order. Please note
Recording in progress.
Sorry. Please note in keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency as amended by Governor Baker on February 12, 2022, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. This meeting is being recorded and will likely be available by ECAD at a later time. Just for the purposes of establishing quorum, let's take a roll call.
Crossman, aye.
Present.
I don't have a order.
Nate, you're present.
Crossman present.
Spady present? I don't know.
I don't know. We were waiting to find out. Callfell's present. So seeing we have a quorum, we will proceed. Just as a point of information here, 91 Union Street, which is on the agenda, has requested a continuance to April 24th. So just if anybody's waiting for 91 Union, we will not be opening that hearing tonight, and it will be continued to April. First up is 22 Possum Run Road. This is a request for determination of applicability for removal of 6 trees within 100 feet of the wetland. This is a local bylaw only, Easton permit number 1784. We have a butters notification, Jen. I think I saw them in the file, right?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Golenberg, he's the applicant. Just need to. You have a privacy shield over your camera there. You just need to slide it.
It was working here. Let me try again.
I think there's a physical privacy shield is what that.
No. I tried that. Can you guys hear me okay?
We do.
Okay. Let's see.
There you go.
Got it?
Oh, no, we had it come in for a second, then it.
All right. Let's try one more time.
There we go.
How's that?
Yep, finally.
I apologize, everyone. Sorry about that. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, Jen, do you want me to bring up the property plan here?
Sure, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, so Mr. Golenberg, why don't you tell us a little bit about the project, and then we can sort of make it at least relative to what the plan is showing us as well. Okay.
Okay, so there's 6 large white pine trees running the left side of my house that are posing a serious concern to my family and the house itself. We have had white pine damage from others falling on site on our property, and I think it would be advantageous to have these removed to prevent possible damage as we go further here. So marked down on the plan here are the locations of those 6 trees with the red dots and the approximate proximity to the house and the structure itself.
All right, just to orient the rest of the commission, so this is the house. The pink line is the 50-foot buffer. The orange line is the 100-foot buffer. You see it goes right through the house. These dots here, I think there's 6 of them, maybe. Yeah, 6 dots give you some locations of the trees that are being discussed here. There's a couple of them that there's some distances as well to the house itself. So you can see this one here is 26 feet. This one here is 13 feet. And you can see there's another tree right behind it, 11 feet from the first one. So it's only another probably about 16 or 18 feet. These ones out here are a little bit further. This one's 50 foot from the house, and this one's 65 or so. I think just as a point of information, I think there's some photos that I think might just be help illustrate what's going on here. So, so you can see this is that first tree that's 13 feet from the house. And you can see the size of them and how tall they are. And this was another one from the other angle from the street. You can see them along the left-hand side. These are the two furthest ones away. And then you can see these are the other two that are sort of back towards the house, and there's one in between. And you can see it here. That helps. I think that, so anything else, Mr. Goldberg, and then I'll go to Jennifer, and then maybe we have some questions for you.
No, just the one thing I want to add is that the tree company who I have contracted to use does plan on removing the trees via crane. So they will not be entering the wetlands at all, besides, just individuals doing the physical cutting. But all mechanical removal will be via crane from the street. So there will not be any, tracking in or out that will occur.
Okay. Jennifer?
Yes, just make a note that it is under Wetland Protection Act and the bylaw. On your agenda, it says NA because they won't give file numbers for requests for determination of applicability.
Okay.
Yeah, there is more than 3 trees being removed, so administrative approval could not be used in this instance. They are all white pines. The trees closest to the cul-de-sac, those might be able to be cut, maybe 10, 12 feet tall and leave that standing snag for wildlife habitat, but remove the rest of the trees if that's an option. And the only other thing I'm going to mention is, Andrew, you had so much trouble with permit eyes. Thank you for hanging in there and for your patience trying to get that program to work for you.
Yeah, no, thank you for all your help.
So anybody have any questions for the applicant or any concerns before I ask some questions?
No, I'm good. I really like Jen's idea of just cutting it, like that 10-foot section, just leaving it for habitat. So great idea. So possibly put that in there would be great.
Al or Nate? So I think that the only question that isn't just for my purposes is, was there any arborist evaluation of these trees to sort of designate that that designated these as unhealthy or problematic? Can't hear you.
Is he still there? Andrew?
I don't know what happened there. He's not muted unless he stepped away to take care of the background noise.
Mr. Goldenberg, are you there, Phil?
It's like he's still in the meeting. It's not add to this post.
I don't remember seeing a letter like that in the packet, but
Yeah, I didn't see it online at all.
How tall are the trees? Are they all of equal height, or are they a little different?
They're pretty close to similar, at least from my perspective. I'd say they all are at least 50 feet tall, right? Jen?
I'm sorry, I got cut off there.
Yeah. So the question that came up just before you departed was, did you have any letter from your arborist designating that the trees were unhealthy or diseased or anything along those lines?
No, they did not. They did not provide a letter.
Yeah.
They did state that a few were leaning in the direction of the house,
Right.
but there is no letters saying there is any disease on the trees.
Okay. I think that from our perspective, one of the things that was suggested is perhaps that the two that are furthest from the home, we could cut it 10 or 12 feet and leave the rest of the tree there just as wildlife habitat, and maybe allow removal of the others that are closer and more dangerous to the home. I think that was something that was suggested. Is that something that you're amenable to?
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, it might not be the best look at close to the street. I might get some complaints from neighbors as well. The one further down in the property, designated by approximately the 40-foot mark, would not be an issue at all. I'd be happy to oblige on that one. But the ones closer to the street, I just think, having a hunk of tree sitting there might be draw some concern from neighbors or some complaints from neighbors.
I mean, part of the issue is they're the closest ones to the wetland too. So I mean, those are the ones that are most potentially most impactful to the wetland resource. So I think almost every single one of these is within the 50-foot no disturb zone, and I think we're trying to find a middle ground here, because I think probably according to perhaps the letter of the regulation is we could say without an arborist letter that we could say that you're going to have to come in with an NOI on this. I mean, we're trying to sort of get out of this with a negative determination of applicability with a few conditions. And so I think that may be a compromise that we may have to sort of make here. And I know aesthetically it's not the most desirable choice, but I think it's the middle of the road that probably neither one of us is going to be particularly happy, to be honest.
Yeah, and understood. I respect your decision on that. So if that's what's determined, I will happily oblige.
Okay.
Now, is there any potential? I'm not an arborist. Is there any potential risk of increased decay on the tree with a exposed end being left on the top?
I think that would likely happen over the course of 10 to 15 years. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen over the course of a couple of years. But yeah, I mean, the tree will die and eventually it will fall over. But we're talking years down the road, not imminently. It's not a 1 or 2 year solution. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not
Right.
just to sort of create it for a couple of years. I'm not an arborist either, but so I just been doing this a long time.
Understood.
So I think that, that's one of the reasons why we sort of make it 10 or 12 feet, because if it falls over there, it lays down the wetlands and that's all there is to it, right? So.
Yeah, unless it falls back on the property and the kids
Yeah,
are in the
I
yard.
think these are removed enough from the woodlands, from the it's deep enough into the woods that if it fell over, it would still be in the woods. So that'd be my intention. If it fell over, then it would stay in the woods.
Okay. I mean, it is directly adjacent to a planting bed, and a couple trees in there that my kids regularly play in. But again, if it's 10 to 15 years, they won't be playing in there anymore. They'll be off at college. So I'm willing to take that risk if you guys are comfortable with it.
Any concerns from anybody on the commission? Jennifer, any other comments here?
Nope.
So, from the commission standpoint, which trees would we like to sort of leave at that 10-foot mark? The two out that are closest to the wetland, designated by sort of the 15-foot and the 50-foot marker, and perhaps the one at 40 feet in the back. Does that seem reasonable? 3, we'll let them take 3 completely out, and 3 we'll top at 10 feet.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I think that's the way we're going to go on this. Let me just, is there any public comment on 22 Possum Run Road? Seeing none, I have to do this. Seeing none, I assume you want to close, Mr. Goldenberg, so we will do that. That's the way this runs. I have to close the hearing and then we take a vote, okay?
Okay. Yes.
We will, I make a motion to close 22 Possum Run Road.
Spady, second.
Caulfield, Spady, a second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Caulfield's aye. So 4-0 to close. And so any further deliberation? So we're gonna top the 3 trees, allow them to take the other 3 out, and then also remove any of the debris offsite. We don't want them to leave the debris. Okay. We're good. I'm seeing nods. Okay.
That's perfect.
So what is this, a negative what, Jennifer?
So for Wetland Protection Act, it's a +5 that it's subject to the bylaw, but a -3 that it's in the buffer zone but won't have an impact on the wetland. And then under the bylaw, it's a -3 that it's in the buffer zone and won't have a negative impact on the wetland.
Okay, so termination of applicability, a +5, and -3 under the WPA, and the -3 under the bylaw, with the conditions that the trees closest to the street will be topped at 10 feet, and the one furthest away in the rear will be topped at 10 feet. The other 3 will be removed in their entirety. No debris is to be left on site.
Spady, second.
Caulfield, Spady, a second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Caulfield's aye. Okay.
So just to translate, those were the answers you wanted.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. It gets a little confusing, but I appreciate it. And thank you for sticking with us.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Next up, so we have 95 Belmont Street, which had requested a continuance to February 13th. So make a motion to continue 95 Belmont Street to February 13th.
Spady, second.
Caulfield, Spady, a second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Caulfield's aye. Next up is 91 Union Street. We had a request from the applicant, a written request from the applicant to continue to April 24th.
Spady, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Caulfield's aye. Next up is a certificate of compliance for 266 Washington Street. This was for parking lot construction and drainage. This had been previously continued. I don't think that we have an applicant here, so Jennifer, do you want to just give us anything? I can bring up the plan if you want.
Just that we had an update from Collins Engineering that all the trash had been removed and that the buffer zone markers were all in place.
Yeah, and I can confirm that from multiple site visits to this property. So it looks in good shape, and I'll make a comment after we issue the certificate of compliance. But I don't want to sort of confuse the issue. Anybody have any questions? Any public comment? 266 Washington Street. Seeing none, make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 266 Washington Street.
Crossman,
Benson,
second.
second.
Ooh,
Look up on that tiebreaker.
Callfield's Kratzman second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Callfield's aye, 4-0. Next up is 670 Washington Street. Did we hear, oh, just a second, before we get to 670 Washington Street, I do want to just say one comment about this, and I'm only saying it just so that people are aware. And I'll bring up the plan here so you have a little bit of an idea of what I'm saying. And I literally will not take more than 2 minutes of time on this one, Jennifer. Is this area here behind the garage, is this little trapezoidal area. It's about, if you can see it with my pointer here, this little trapezoidal area. There's actually debris in here. There's some metal debris, and there's an old boat, a tiny little boat, about 10 foot long. It's a tiny, not a canoe, but it's almost like a rowboat, sitting in this area, and there's long clippings too. It's not this owner's property. In fact, it's not anyone's property. It's actually on the tax rolls as unknown owner. So, and it's unfortunate because we don't have access to it. Even if we went and took possession of the property through tax liens or whatever, there's no access to it for us, right? So I'm just saying it to you. It's not in the wetlands per se. It's in the buffer zone. It's probably been there for a long time, but I'm only making the comment here. There was an interesting thing that sort of came up out of this as I was sort of looking at it. So that's it. That's my interesting comment of the day, as someone who went and pulled the property cards on these to figure out who owned them. So next up is 670 Washington Street. This is a certificate of compliance for a septic upgrade, and we had continued it from our last hearing because the pavement had been 1 to 3 feet further than was originally there and was authorized. So Jennifer, I know you reached out to the applicant and the engineer. Did we hear back?
Actually, there were 2 voicemails on the phone. Basically, they were both saying, well, what do we have to do?
Okay. So I guess we have to decide, so that the applicant seems to be looking for direction from us on what we would expect them to do. So we had discussed last time about potentially just having them saw cut the asphalt to the appropriate place, remove it, and if that's what we're going to do, then that's what we need to sort of give that direction to the applicant. Are there other suggestions about what we want to do? Do we want to issue a certificate of compliance with approximately, let's say it's 120 square feet of additional impervious surface that was given here? I didn't put this up, but this is a piece of property that's literally right next to the pond. Like it's 6 feet, 8 feet from the pond.
And so there's no stormwater management at all on the site, just to throw that in.
Oh, there's some gravel.
There you go. Thanks.
That's top dressing.
Jennifer, there was, yes.
So bigger the better. Sound good?
So cut away the paving. That would be the way to go.
So everybody's in agreement? Mike, you
Yeah.
weren't gung ho about that, but
No,
I'm trying to interpret your sort of head nod.
I'm agreeing with you guys. Go for it.
So I think that from our perspective, that the commission would like to see the asphalt surface area to be what was authorized.
Okay, I will contact them. I don't know if you want to continue this until we make sure they're okay with it and then they do that.
Yep, let's continue to the next hearing in case we get some feedback from them. So let's continue any public comment for 670 Washington Street? Seeing none. Let's continue 670 Washington Street to February 13th.
Maybe second.
Callfell Spady a second. Roll call.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Caulfield's aye. Okay, chair updates. I actually have no chair updates other than to make sure you all know that MACC annual spring conference is the first weekend in March. If anybody wants to take courses, a whole bunch of remote courses and stuff as well that start the weekend before. May go for about a week and a half. So there's plenty of things to do and interesting things. As I was talking a little bit earlier about, they have lunch and learn events that happen at noon about once a month, right? It's about once a month, and wide range of topics. Some things are, there was some on vernal pools, and there was one just this past one was about managing beavers. And I know Jennifer actually had something she had to deal with a beaver issue just a couple of months ago. So I had no idea what it meant. Now I do. So it's rather interesting. And they have experts come on and talk to you, and you have an opportunity to ask questions and whatnot. So I don't know if you guys get all these emails. I get them. So I know that a lot of us are tied up during the day. I literally ate my lunch while watching this. So this one actually had 160 or 170 people on, which is a pretty high number. There's usually a good number, but that's maybe as large as I've seen on one of these lunch and learns. So it's quite a topic. And the guy who was in charge has a lot of experience doing it. So he presented all sorts of options about how to deal with beavers.
I'm assuming that was Mike Callahan.
Yes. Yeah, he was very good. And it wasn't just trapping them and moving them or anything like that. It was other ways to manage them and leave them in place. So, and they love culverts, by the way. They love culverts. So I'm advocating that there's a heck of a lot of information. I know that I've benefited a great deal by the time that I spent at MACC conferences and MACC programs. And we are all members. By being a member of the commission, you're all members, and you get the member discount. And of course, we will pay for any of those courses that you want to take. So don't worry about any of that stuff. Just get the information over to Jennifer or the clerk when we have one. And we'll get us all signed up and everything. So strongly suggest there's some great courses out there, and you always find something that's good for you. And I took one and back when we weren't doing them all remote, you got to drive all around the state to go to interesting places. And enforcement orders, I took one up in Rockport or something like that, and another one in down on the Cape. I took on erosion and sediment control. So just interesting things out there for sure. That's my chair update and the my advocacy for the MACC. So. Community Preservation Committee updates, Al?
The most interesting part of the last meeting was that Oak Ames Hall request was removed from consideration. So there was no indication of when that would be refiled. It'll miss this go round for this year, that's for sure. I'm happy to report that we did have a meeting on the Wheaton Farm barn issue in terms of two grants, one from 14 for $14,850 and the other in 2020 for $190,000. Those were not, Tom ruled on it, and they're not going to be combined, and they're going to be additive. So we end up with $204,850 to work with. So that's where I was very happy with that. Unfortunately, he was so happy the way it came out that I'm now on a quarterly committee to review all grant status for the foreseeable future. So it worked better than my expectation.
Cheers, Al.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so we'll pursue that one. Within the next few months, we should have a complete agreed group of project grants that will be returned to the general funds, and it should be meaningful in terms of the value. So
Great.
we're heading in the right direction.
Al, I just from my personal standpoint, I appreciate the effort that you're putting in here, and I know that you know, we as volunteers have varying levels of time and commitment, and I know that the positive impact that you're making with this effort is significant, and so I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your attention to detail and persistence at getting to the bottom of some of these things that are years and years old to try and find out where we stand. So I do want to thank you personally for that, and I do appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Environmental planner updates.
Our Tufts Farm bids were received. We have 3 of them. We're actually doing the interviews tomorrow, and so we should have a recommendation for the commission soon.
Excellent.
Yeah, which would be good. There's one other email that I received today, and it says John E. Grant Management Area, Wheaton Farm. And it's just a question about whether there would be some work or a bridge or a boardwalk or something in one section of it. And I just said that I would have to go look at it first and then see where it goes and what it would take to take a look at the area. She's also offering to donate if it's needed.
Got it.
Do you have a sense of where they're talking, Mike?
Yeah, coming the what's the stream that's crossing through there? Like, 'cause it's late, I can't think of the name.
Mulberry Meadow.
Yeah, that going from the Samurai Field, if you're going to the farmhouse, that always overflows, and that's like that's a really hard thing to cross. So I'm assuming she probably wants a bridge there. I gotta think it's like the big cutover in trail.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that the water is pretty darn high right now.
Oh yeah, but that's like this is like a kind of an all year thing. Like it always is flowing there. It's kind of overflowing in the dam. Like there's nothing there to stop it anyway.
But I'm even saying there's a lot of water out there right now, more than we generally see in January. So
right now you can't cross that unless you're in pretty decent sized boots and even maybe like hip waders. But yeah, it's very deep, even strong too. I don't know. I wouldn't advise to like go shush across it. That would be very good.
no, with me. Okay, let us know what you find out, Jennifer.
Okay.
And let me know too, because that's part of the Bay Circuit Trail. So
Okay.
who knows how we can move that right through, you know.
Just one other point of information that I skipped, if you don't mind, Jennifer, you completed, okay. That the acid rain monitoring project that occurs every April, they're always looking for volunteers. I know there's 2 sites in Easton that Tim McCall usually does. He's a former commissioner and the chair. I have 5 that go from Taunton and Raynham to Attleboro, Mansfield. So anybody looking to get out and put your hip waders on and go into the streams and collect some water.
Yes, I mean I'm always out in the woods walking around. So if you send that info my way, I can easily.
I will send you the email, and you can see which sites are available, and they collect them the same sites every year to sort of compare year over year. So it's interesting, you know.
Yeah, send it.
And talk about, you know, getting into some of those streams that are moving pretty quick in the spring. It's like, whoa.
It's fun. I love it.
Anything else from anybody? Okay. I need a motion to adjourn. So moved. Somebody say so moved.
Thought I was
Motion
gonna say
to adjourn.
All right. Second. Benson, Caulfield, second. Motion to adjourn. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Grossman, aye.
Baby, I.
Caulfield's aye. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Awesome. See you tomorrow, Jen.
Okay.